Hello there, welcome to Dick Moby episode 23. About 10 years ago, I read the book Moby Dick, the Great American Novel by Herman Melville. It was the worst mistake of my life, the worst book I've ever read. So much so that I wish I could unread the book, so now I am unreading the book. I'm unreading it from end to beginning, word for word, page for page, chapter by chapter, from now until the end of time. So far, we have made it through 70 odd chapters, except we haven't. We've made it from the end to chapter 70 odd. Represents about a third of the book. So making good progress. Last time I reached this stage here. Daggoo was laughing to himself while swinging in an overhead perch. Who knows why? He was obviously amused by something. I wasn't amused by this at all on Tuesday. I wasn't amused by the state of the world, and so I didn't do an episode of this on Tuesday. Sorry for the delay. I felt with everything going on in America that with all the racial issues and stuff, I didn't feel in the mood for reading a great American novel containing questionably racist language. I at times, not extensively, but let's say insensitive language in today's terms. I really wasn't in the mood for it, so I didn't do one. Anyway, I'm back today because everything's sorted now, isn't it? Everything's back on track. But we need to make some progress. If you want to donate, normally I say donate to the National Video Games Museum. If you'd like this, the link is down there. You can still do that, or give to any of the many charities supporting black issues and black creators of whatever media you're into, be it video games, music, film, whatever. There are plenty of ways to give to people. I'm not going to tell you how, but please do that. Give to the National Video Game Museum next week instead, when I'm sure the world will have been put to rights. As of now, yes, let's crack on, shall we? We have plenty to go at. I think this is chapter 70. What chapter was this? Yeah, 78. We started at chapter 135 plus an epilogue, so we're making good progress. But we need to crack on. I won't bore you with any more preamble. Instead, I will bore you with some of the actual amble for which you came. Ship the from off little a pushstand, alongside boat are into jumped now handsome. Seen be could diver the or sinker the either of sign no and moment followed moment as ripple every counted I every and side the to made was rush packed one. Rescue the to dived had queequeg brave my that announced splash loud next the bullocks the over hovering seen moment swift one for was hand his in boarding sword with figure naked when away cleared vapour blinding the had hardly but see the of bottom the to down utterly sinking was Tashtego buried alive poor while tackles pendulous the to clinging beheld dimly was spray of mist thick through Daggoo, water the over now and head sailors the over now. Swinging half as breath. Is Daggoo swinging on a swing above everyone else with his pendulous tackle on the go? This is very unusual. We shouldn't have left it here at the end of the last episode. I think jumping straight into this sequence of the book is it's giving me such thoughts. Swinging half as breath there caught all and copper glittering her down far too. It from away rolled hull relieved suddenly the whirlpool the into table rock Niagara's like see the into dropped mass enormous the thunder boom with instant same the in almost. Rocket of bursting the like voice cried tackle the of clear stand. Ye will avast. Head his of top on bucket iron bound that jamming. him help that will how. Avast! There cartridge a home ramming you are? Stubb cried. Man name heavens in. Out hoisted be so and. It grasp should harpooneer buried that meaning. Well collapsed now the into bucket the down rammed. Line foul the cleared, having negro the. See what I mean? I mean, none of it's hideous, but I mean it's pretty hideous, right? We plough on in the awareness that time has taught us many things, but time is yet to teach everything, and some things we should teach ourselves. Suspended remains still would he. Drop should head the if that so. Tackles heavy the to on holding hand. One with butt. Dagu to seaman doesn't count. They yelled, down come, down come. Don't count. Head the of motions violent the from likely more still event an. Way giving of point the on be to instant every seemed. Depended now strain entire the which upon hook remaining one the. Iceberg and by smitten if as shook and reeled ship drunk the till. Swung sideways mass enormous the vibration vast with and out tore head the suspending hooks enormous to the of one. All of horror unspeakable the to and heard was noise cracking sharp tackles cutting great the of foul got somehow had whip the clearing was head the of summit the on dagu while instant this at. Sunk had he which to depth perilous the struggles those by revealing unconscious the Indian poor the only was it whereas idea momentous some with seized moment that if as see the of surface the below just heaving and throbbing head lifeless before the saw they side the overlooking. This is filthy. Tumult terrible was there meantime. Bottom interior I told you. Bottom interior it's reached have could Tashtego before almost. Head the of top the to up high him ran hoisters the itself whip the on handhold slippery is secure to better the as so. It into foot one butting and weigh this bucket the swing. Senses his to came first consternation general the amid who Dagu cried overboard man. This reads like that news story that was on this week. You know the news story that was on this week about the Spanish porn star who apparently allegedly he denies this and I believe him to be fair, acted as a shaman in a sort of sex ritual with a hallucinogenic deadly frog where some photographer or journalist or something they burned the frog and he inhaled the poison as a vapor. And, you know, as you might expect, subsequently died. This was a year ago. I mean, I think the facts of the case are old news, but whether the guy, the porn star, is liable for the guy's death at this party or whatever is still legally to be determined legally. I don't know what made me think about this. I think it was this sort of sex party that's going on here with the slippery handholds and the bottom interior. But it brought to mind Michael Barrymore a little bit as well. You know, the tragic case where a man died at his party, apparently having been abused or whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this really. I just thought it was an interesting story that, you know, Barrymore and this porn star were in a similar boat, except that in Barrymore's case there was no hallucinogenic frog. Why throwing a hallucinogenic frog into the middle of a story about a tragedy makes it into so much more amusing? I don't know, but it reads like a sort of the sort of thing that appears in the line on Netflix where it says, because you watched Making a Murderer and The Crazy Guy with the Cats, You might also like the porn star killing people by burning hallucinogenic frogs. It's bound to happen pretty soon, and I'll watch it. You know, let's face it, I'll watch that. You know, I don't really watch anything else with porn stars in, so why it would recommend that to me, I don't know. But you know, we'll come to that. I may watch it when it inevitably appears. Cite the out clean went, gurgling, oily, horrible, with hand. Because like Barrymore's had documentaries and stuff done about him, hasn't he? I feel sorry for Michael Barrymore, to be fair. Michael Barrymore used to present, what was the show where you had to, at the end of it, you go along, there's 3 sets of lights over some steps, and you go along and you decide top, middle, or bottom, top, middle, or bottom, top, middle, or bottom. It's complete random chance. You have to avoid some hot spots. Was it hot spots? If you hit the hot spots, you don't get the prize at the end of it. There's some special bonus prizes, and you have to hit arrows randomly to get across from one side of the cheaply built studio to the other. I happened to catch an old episode of this, just the end of the episode, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was coming to the thrilling conclusion of the climax of the show, with the lights and the steps, and Barrymore encouraging the players to take greater and greater risks by choosing maybe two middles on the trot rather than going middle bottom. There's no system to it; they're all the same. But I don't know. He's geeing up the crowd, going, "Yeah, let's live a little, go middle top instead of middle bottom top." Anyway, so they got right to the end of the thing, and then they hit the final hotspot, right? Fucked it completely. Lost all their progress. Whatever, big message came up saying you died, and they had to go back to the start. But it was the end of the show, and Barrymore then announced what they'd won. Through the course of the program, you win smaller prizes. They were playing for the jackpot prize. Through the course of the show, they win smaller prizes. One of which was 10 gallons of petrol. 10 gallons of petrol. That was a prize in a quiz show back in the 90s, was it? Early 90s or something. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy that, I don't know. I mean, that's not even worth anything now. The market's crashed. Imagine going on there and winning 10 gallons of petrol and walking out and finding out all the, OPEC had overproduced. Russia and Saudi Arabia had this, price war on, and all of a sudden, what you thought was a star prize is worth bupkis. Crazy. Sight of out clean went, gurgling oily horrible with and Heidelberg of ton. Great this into down head foremost dropped, well veritable in bucket reciprocating twin the like. Tashtego poor, God my, up suckingly came. This is unreadable. Up suckingly came bucket 90th or 80th, that as sudden on, but now telling no is there, exactly was it how. Reasons particular his stating without. So outfall to it have would himself one evil the weather o'er. Oozy and treacherous so was stood he where place the weather o'er. Head the suspending tackles cabled great that on hold one-handed his moment afore go let to as reckless and heedless so was Indian wild that Tashtego that was it weather. Happened accident queer once at all when sperm fragrant the with filled bean had tubs several. Way this in time some bailing bean had pequod that are people the now. Now then, if you're new to this show, it's not a show. We have to draw the sperms. We have to as we go. It's become kind of albatross around my neck. There it is. Drawing the sperms as we go along. I draw them on that board, and then at the end of the episodes, when you're not watching, at least I hope you're not watching, I draw them individually, one by one, onto the big board behind us, which is the main sort of progress bar for the whole thing. there are 271 individual instances of the word sperm appearing throughout the great American novel, Moby Dick. And we are using the number of sperms, the sperm count, to mark our progress. And it's going great. Look, I've got a whole load of sperm up there already, and that's another one for now. So last episode was a new record. We found 17 sperms in one episode. By the end of it, I was sick of drawing them. I was making a tally instead. So that really put some progress on the board. The previous record was 14, so increased considerably. I'm not sure we're going to surpass 17 in a single episode. But having said that, we are much further than a third of the way through the book by word count, but much less than a third of the way through the book by sperm count. So at some point, these sperms are going to be somewhere. They're going to be hiding out somewhere. We'll find them as we go. Keep your eyes open for some sperm. Down gone have pole of feet 20 some until thunder into deeper and deeper and harder pole long is ram to has Tashtego and the towards. This is disgusting. More no yield will cistern deep thee until round same the through goes again it. Aloft remounting then. Tub large into I was getting all excited. Emptied quickly and hand appointed and by court his vessel full freighted the height it's from lowered carefully. Milk new of pale dairy maids are like bubbling all. Again bucket the comes up. Whip the at seaman doesn't count. The to word the giving then disappears entirely it till ton the into bucket the guides downward Tashtego. Bucket the into pole this inserting. Oh come on, that's just rude. Pole long very at up reached has person another whom to Indian the of grasp within bucket the hoist now last these. Hands alert 3 or 2 by held there is deck the across stretched being end other the while. Whip the of end 1 to attached bean has well bucket alike precisely bucket iron bound stouter over is search cautious this time the by. In masoned is gold the where fine to walls the sounding house old some in treasure hunter alike. Heedfully very proceeds he business this in. Ton the into breaking begin to place proper the for searches diligently he. Him to upsent being spade sharp short handled tower out of top the from prayers to people good the calling muezzin. Excuse my pronunciation of that. That's not one I've come across before. Turkish some seems he. Cries vivaciously he whom to company the of rest the above elevated high still there. Head the of summit the on lands he dexterously till. Ere the through drops Indian the part other the down hand over hand then. Deck on hand by held firmly and caught is it till rope the of one swings he. Yard arm the from down hangs it that so block this securing. Block single sheaved are through travelling parts 2 only of consisting. Whip are called tackle light a him with carried has he. Ton hoisted the over projects exactly where part the 2 main yard arm overhanging the upon out straight runs posture erect his altering without hand. Aloft mounts Tashtego cat as nimble. Buckets and cistern 78 chapter. Woo! Another one done. Sorry about the wind, by the way. Not my wind. I haven't had stag chili because it's Friday. I had a salad with some eggs and stuff. It's nice. So that's not repeating on me. No, I mean the wind outside. I've got the window open because it's quite warm, but it's also very, very windy, and I can hear the rustling of leaves outside. It's quite, it's quite beautiful. Quite a rustic sort of sound going on. If it is being picked up by the microphone, which I don't think it is, it shouldn't be, but if it is, then just imagine that it's the sound of the sea, the sound of waves. I could do something like that. That's the sound of them lapping against the wood. No, not wanking, lapping against the wood. Let's continue, because I've already seen the word sperm a couple of times. So get ready. Get ready. Here it comes. Taptis ton Heidelberg great whale sperm. Might as well draw it. Get it over and done with. Let's keep cracking on with the sperms. There's one. Oh, I've drawn it completely wrong. This problem with drawing it upside down is you have to draw it upside down. That looks like nicely shaded, actually, the way I've done that. You see, it's got this sort of shading at the bottom, gives it a slightly 3D effect. Normally my sperms are cartoonish and flat. Maybe I should do some, CG sperms for next time. Little challenge for everyone, right? If you're watching this, I know you're not, but if you are, then why not see if you can render, but be that rendered in Paint or a 3D graphics package. Send me realistic 3D sperms, and I will show them in the next episode. Because I always like something to pass the time, and especially things where I get to mock you for how shit you are at things like that. So go away and do that, and then next week I will probably not even bother. Sperm, the whereby operation fatal almost. Instance particular this in, and marvellous that too, you pray I, now attend, said being much thus. Quarter that in ropes of wilderness a quite make, side one on, combinations hempen whose, tackles cutting enormous, the by position that in retained and, water the of out elevated last at is which, also, head the of end decapitated, this is it. Contents invaluable, its outlet wastingly and sanctuary the invade should stroke untimely. That doesn't make sense. Should stroke untimely. I'm aware that none of it makes sense, but I tend to at least be able to get the gist of what's going on as I go through it. I'm clever like that. I don't expect you to be able to follow it, but I'm actually quite enjoying reading it because I'm it's quite exciting. The story's quite exciting. All that stuff about the sex swing, it's great. But this bit I can't follow. I lost it there. Invade should stroke untimely. Careless a lest, heedful uncommonly be too, therefore has he. Magazine spermaceti, that counts. That does count, believe it or not. Mainly because when you hit Control F and type in sperm, don't type that into Google. Don't type it in directly into Google. What you have to do is you have to open this in the browser and then Control F to search within the page for sperm. Don't, whatever you do, go on the internet and just search for sperm. Certainly don't go into Twitter and just type sperm in the box and press go, because that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? That counts though. That is the word sperm, even as a sub word. We have come across spermaceti before as a sperm word. There we go. We haven't come across any other sperm words to my knowledge. I don't think we've seen any other compound. Have we? Maybe, I don't know. But those are hard to spot. They're easy to miss when they're part of a word. What I'm hoping isn't a compound word that the word sperm appears in by accident. Sort of, the Scunthorpe problem. I can't think of a word. Jasperman? Asper... I can't think of it. I can't think of one. But we need to be careful of that. We need to be careful of that, definitely. I mean, if there was a nautical term like a jasperman, then that would contain the word sperm, and that would slip past me, right? Because I'd say it, and it wouldn't occur to me that it was there. It'd sneak in, like in Scunthorpe or Dominic Cummings. Spermaceti that into forced subsequently is entrance, and where spot the too close brought his instrument operators the whale the decapitating in as. Oh, that was a bit abrupt. Leave the whale alone. Side ships at against down and up hoisted lengthwise. is it when? Ton the of depth the 4 feet 26, then more have you. Whale-sized good a 4 feet 80, at down length that setting then. Creature the of length whole, the of third one embraces head the. Fourth set elsewhere been has as, since and. Head the of top entire, the of length entire, the embraces whale sperm, the of ton Heidelberg, the that seen been. Oh, we've come across seen bean before, haven't we? Seen bean have will it. Speaking of Sean Bean, Seen Bean, we watched the... Here's a sperm, look, I'll just do a quick one there. There you go, musical sperm. Sean Bean, yeah, we watched the reunion Zoom chat thing with all of the Fellowship of the Ring, whatever they're called, Lord of the Rings people in it. Dominic Monaghan's a tripper, isn't he? He's a tripper. The rest of them are quite boring. Billy Boyd just sat there almost entirely silent through the entire thing for going on for, well, whatever it was, a half an hour. I think he introduced himself and then he didn't say another word until right at the end, and then he sang a nice song. Who else? Liv Tyler, she's a bit... she seemed a bit spaced out somehow. I don't know what was up with her. But yeah, the rest of them, it's all good. The rest of them are good, isn't it? We like the rest of them. Gollum, what's his name? Serkis. Andy Serkis, he was on it. He did his Gollum impression. Did his voice. Yeah. He's obviously recovered from his ordeal of reading all of The Hobbit in a day. Forwards. Lazy fucker. Do it backwards. It's no challenge reading it forwards. Anyone can read things forwards. But yeah, it was good. I recommend it. I can't remember the guy's channel. It's on YouTube. If you type it into YouTube, it'll come up. In fact, you've probably already been advised to watch it, because if you watch this, what you're watching now, then there's a lot of parallels between, you know, the story of Moby Dick backwards and Lord of the Rings forwards. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if after watching this it said you may also like this nonsense with the Lord of the Rings people. Go and watch that. It was good though. I recommend it. I like them all. I haven't watched films for quite a while, but I like them. I enjoy the book. I've read the book. I've read the book multiple times, and I'm still not tempted to unread it. You can't tempt me, Frodo. I'm going to have to draw another sperm though, aren't I? Because I can see here. Case whale sperm. I'll just do a quick one there. It's whale sperm. And let's continue. The of surface inner that I didn't show you the sperm. You'll have to trust me. Case whale sperm. The of surface inner the forming. Police fine out of lining the like. Membrane pearl coloured silken the with compared have possibly not could coating that richness superlative the but. In but even. Within coated was ton Heidelberg, the material costly and fine, what with not know I. Can you what securing of business ticklish that in lost irrevocably lost irrevocably otherwise is or away dribbles and leaks spilled is it of considerable circumstances unavoidable from though sperm of I'll do it in a sec. Sperm of gallons 105 about yields generally case whales larger. Water in forming just is ice delicate thin first the whenas shoots crystalline beautiful forth sending. Concrete to begins soon it death after. Air the to exposure upon yet fluid perfectly remains it life in though. Creature the of part other any in unalloyed found substance precious this is nor. State odoriferous state odoriferous and limpid pure absolutely it's in spermaceti. There's two, better draw it before we lose count. Spermaceti highly prized the namely I can't draw it without looking, I'm afraid. I'm gonna have to stop for a second. Highly prized the namely vintage is oily his all of precious most the but see I could do that easy. Precious most the far by contains whale the of ton The so. Valleys reenish that of wines that of excellent, most the with replenished always was Heidelberg of that as, moreover. Ton wondrous, his of adornment emblematical, the for devices strange innumerable forms, forehead plaited, never been sure. Vast Wales the so, front in carved mystically is Tierce great, famous that as and. Whale sperm, yes, the of Tun Heidelberg great the as regarded be may, case the as known part upper the, extent whole its throughout fibres white elastic tough of, cells infiltrated 1010 into, recrossing and crossing the biformed, oil of honeycomb immense one is. Junk the called, parts subdivided lower the. And there's another sperm. You know what, I'm not even going to show you the board. I'm just going to draw it quick, because I think you've got the idea, right? What's that? 7 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10 to go, and it's a new record. Well, it's not 8, 10, 11 to go to get to 80. Then it'd be a new record. It'd be annoying to flipping heck. He's done it, hasn't he? I've been dreading this happening. I shouldn't lean on the desk because it makes everything wobble. Whoa, like we're having an earthquake in the middle of an interview. And keeping my calm and dealing with the coronavirus crisis. This next paragraph is a footnote. Luckily, it's a footnote to somewhere I can already see. But I've been dreading finding out that the bit I've read is a footnote to something somewhere else in the book. Like there's a reference, and then I don't know where to go. I don't know whether I should jump backwards or forwards. Where does it fit in? Should I just read the footnote in the place where the asterisk is, and so it flows? But as luck would have it, I'm not sure Herman Melville really understood what footnotes were for, because in every previous instance where we've had an asterisk footnote, the footnote itself has immediately followed the place where the footnote came from. So in other words, there were 2 consecutive asterisks. You know, one paragraph ended with an asterisk, and then the next paragraph started with an asterisk and was the footnote of the thing immediately following it as we read it backwards. So it wasn't a problem because it made sense anyway. But in this case, we, for the first time, are faced with a footnote that needs to be inserted somewhere else. So I'm going to have to read this backwards to the point where the asterisk is, then go to the end of the paragraph where the asterisk leads, read that backwards, and then go back to where the original asterisk was. Does that make sense? I mean, I know none of this makes sense. And I know there isn't even a particular good explanation for why I'm doing this at all. But this here, I agree. This is a whole nother level of confusing. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to read this paragraph. I'm going to start here and then do this and then do this. It's not that hard, is it? It's not rocket science. I mean, it's mid-19th century nautical nonsense, which is the rocket science of its day, I'll grant you. Substance tenderness, thick out of wall internal and by divided naturally were before which parts equal almost 2 have you then and quoin upper this subdivide horizontally forehead the of middle the at whale the of forehead apparent vertical expanded the forming end forward broad its bones from free holy mass unctuous and upper the and jaws and cranium the forming structure bony that is lower the whereof sides both of tapering mutual the of instead side one of inclination steep the by formed end sharp its having in wedge a from differs which solid a is quoin a before defined been has it that not no I mathematics nautical pure the to belongs it term Euclidean and not is quoin quoins 2 into it divide sideways plane inclined and on may you oblong solid a has head whale sperm the regarding. And we found a sperm, just as a little prize for tolerating Herman's paragraphical geography? Parography? Is that a word? Herman makes half the words up, so I'm just going to make one up. Yes, it's parography is the word for understanding the layout of paragraphs. Upon operated thing the of structure internal curious, that of something no must you. You know what, Herman? The word must there it's doing a lot of work in this whole chapter. Upon operated thing the of structure internal curious, the of something no must you. Aright it comprehend to but, case the of bailing the comes now. Ton, Heidelberg, great the 77 chapter. I'm not convinced we've really learned anything by reading that, or indeed at all, ever. In fact, I'm dumbing you down by doing this. But let's continue, because, you know, there's nothing else to say. Immediate word I can't pronounce. Lays. At vale goddesses dread the lifting youth weakling the befell what? Then provincials the for chances the small how encounter to only giant salamander for thing at is truth clear but truth in sentimentalist and provincial but are you. Whale the own you unless for eyebrow your of hair one elevate not would you Pacific the with Atlantic the mixed and Darien of Isthmus the I'm going to pronounce that a bit better. Darien of Isthmus, like Christmas. The through passage a stove whale sperm. There we go. The though that. This is isthmus. There is reminiscent of my German language learning, which I've occasionally mentioned previously. I have great trouble with various forms of the verb to drink. Is it trinkst? No, that's quite easy. Maybe it's not trinkst that I'm thinking of. What's the word I'm thinking of? Trinkst. Yeah, do trinkst. I don't know. I can't seem to say the T as without saying a D at the start and going back to the English drinkst. I know that's not an English word, drinkst. You drinkst. But, you know, it's confusing. I've only been doing it a couple of weeks. And I lost my streak on Duolingo. Which I think is isn't that a song by oh no, I'm thinking of I Lost My Wallet in El Segundo. The Duolingo thing of maintaining a streak every day really annoyed me. I never wanted it to do that in the first place. I never wanted to get a streak of successful days of learning German. As far as I'm concerned, I know if I'm learning German, the only thing I need to tell me whether I'm learning German or not is whether I can say more things in German than I could the day before. Whether I can read and comprehend more German. Whether I can catch what Germans are saying as they say it. That's the metrics by which I will measure my progress in learning German, not simply how many days I've logged into an app. I don't really see... I get that, you know, some people will make progress because of that kind of psychological torture of, oh, I can't go a day now. I've done 2 weeks and now I can't miss a day. Well, I missed a day. And even though I know it's stupid and I just wanted to learn German, it annoyed me so much having missed a day. Not just that I'd broken my streak, which was annoying enough, but that I'd been manipulated against my wishes by a service which I don't pay for. So really, I don't know what I expected. There's no option to turn that off. You can't stop it tracking your streaks. So I'm now faced with having a day off. I force myself to have a day off learning German every 3 or 4 days to deliberately never build up a streak that I will even inadvertently, even mistakenly, even by the manipulation of a programmer somewhere in Silicon Valley, I will never care enough about my streak, because I never allow it to build up enough. But it does mean that I can only learn German at 2/3 or 3/4 the pace that I'd previously been learning German, and that is why I can't pronounce Trinkst very well. Although it seems like now that I'm just talking about it, under the pressure of the bright lights of the internet, it seems I can't fail to say it correctly. Even if I try and get it wrong, Trinkst, it's easy. Gern geschehen. It's another one. Anyway, so lies. What was I up to? Did I read? Oh yeah, isthmus, and I need to draw a sperm. That sperm there. German's not an easy language to learn. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it to you. I mean, you know, I'm doing pretty well with it, but it's probably a bit too much language for you, I think. Maybe do stick to Spanish, or, you know, something simpler. Italian, maybe. German's very, very complicated. Very complicated. There's 2 words for sorry. There's 2 ways of saying I'm sorry. You can say sorry, or you can say I'm sorry. And if you say I'm sorry, it's not adding like I'm sorry, like it is in English. It's a totally different phrase. It's 4 words, or 1 very long word that's hard to spell. And it's kind of toss-up between the 2, really. I think if I was writing it down, I'd go for the 4 easy words, but if I was saying it, I would probably go for the 1 simpler word to say. So it's that kind of decision. That's the difference. That's the point where you know you're getting to be fluent in a language, is when you start making those decisions on the fly, rather than, you know, having to think about it while you wipe your arse and then say it into the microphone and see if you're correct. Whale sperm though that, this by abide to ready be and. Incredulity, ignorant, all renounced, have will you trust I. Feats braining inconsiderable, more his of some you show shall I when. Monster expansive, this in lurking everywhere, potency of concentrations and specialties, they all you to detail hereafter shall I, when that so. Insect smallest the as, volition one to obedient all and, cord the by, is wood piled as estimated adequately be to only, life tremendous of mass, at all it behind swims there. Within thing buoyant most this and, wall uninjurable, impregnable, dead this impelling unerringly, mark now. Contributes elements all of destructive and impalpable most, the which to might that of irresistibleness the fancy, so be this if, contraction and distension atmospheric to susceptible be to as so, air outer the with connection unsuspected and unknown hitherto some have possibly may their honeycombs long-celled, mystical those that, say I, me to occurred hypothetically has it. Head his of interior unique the considering. Envelope its of elasticity unobstructed the considering. Water the of out elevated high it with swims anon and. Surface the beneath altogether head his depresses now he which in manner inexplicable otherwise the, to considering him in provisions such no has. No I as far as whale sperm missed the as and contraction or distension of will at capable them in bladder swimming are called is what possess fish ordinary as that me to occurred hypothetically has it this to supplementary but at drive so me to occurred hypothetically. Is it, you sure about that? Is it possible to have something hypothetically occur to you but not actually occur to you? It's just hypothetically occurred to me that, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me that it's either happened or it hasn't. That's not That's not what you can have a hypothetical about, is something that has actually happened in the past. Or not. Has it? This to supplementary but. At drive I fact obviously illustrates sufficiently this itself by. Crowbars, iron, and handspikes oaken, they're all snapped, have wood which jam the takes uninjured and bravely that. Oxhide of toughest and thickest the enveloped even, cork and toe of wad round, large are their hold they, no, wood or iron like, substance hard merely any, contact coming of point the at, them between suspend not do they. The sailors the do what? Docks the in other each towards crush and crowd to chance Indium and loaded, large to when? Thing another of also yourself bethink. It in lurks sensation, any that think not do I. Hooves horses with paved were whale sperm. Did I draw that sperm? I didn't. I've just almost lost a sperm and never drew it, and now we've hit another sperm. It's going to be disastrous, isn't it, if I lose track of how many sperms we've seen, and I'll get to the end of the book and we'll still have some sperms left, and I'll have to go through it all again and find all the missing sperms. There they go. We're doing pretty well for sperms. That was one of them anyway. I should draw another one because that was 2, and 1 + 1 and all that. How many is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we have a quarter of an hour left. This could be a record. This could be a new record. Let's get all excited. Don't get excited. Whale sperm, the of forehead, the though as is it. It from rebounds impotently, arm human strongest, the by darted lance sharpest, the harpoon pointed severest, the it handled not has who man any by inestimable, toughness boneless. That sounds like something you buy from a supermarket. A toughness boneless whale. Of is thick, a thick fillet of whale, boneless. Thick so, not though. Envelope this head thee about. Difference this with but, porpoise on croute. Head the with so just, orange and wraps rind the as, whale that of body the wraps blubber the how you to described have I placed previous some in. Effeminacy apparent that all invests impregnably so, which substance the of nature, the of apprised, be to now are you, yet, oil delicate most the comprised partly contents its, revealed be soon will as though, finally. Wad one as is mass boneless enormous, whole, this that so. Development cranial, excuse me. Oh, that was horrible. Development cranial full the to come you do forehead, the from feet 20 near get you till not and. Bone of vestige slightest, the there is. Head the of front, the of part sloping backward, lower, extreme the in only that consider to now are you furthermore. Whatsoever sort any of prominence tender or organs single are without, wall blind, dead at his head whale's sperm even. I'm not very good at clicking on the sperms today, am I? Definitely shouldn't be playing Overwatch or something. Is that what that's about? It certainly looks like it from what I've seen of other people's Twitch streams that are far more entertaining than mine. Head whale's sperm, the of front the that perceived have now must you wherefore. Front the from length entire, his of third one nearly, head his of sides, the at our ears and eyes, his that observe you. Haven't we covered this before? I'm sure we've talked about the shape of a whale's head in a previous chapter, because you remember where he goes on about how the brain is in the neck, and now we're talking about it again. It's no wonder this is 135 chapters long if there's just going to talk about the same thing over and over again, albeit, backwards. Ears and eyes, his that observe you. Head his of top the on is, whole spout his. Has he knows what that and? Knows external, no has whale, the that observe you moreover. We have talked about this before. We've talked about this not 3 episodes ago. about the fountains of the high pressure. Remember, because he's got all the blood vessels and stuff, and it's all under pressure, and the fountain of water, and the brain and the neck. We have definitely talked about this before. Is it a misprint? Is this gone wrong in the web page? Maybe I need to check this against an original copy to see if it is actually the same passage. I mean, whoever typed this into gutenberg.org/files/2701/h/2701-h.htm link to h_epil, whoever typed this in at length, maybe they didn't think anyone was going to actually read past this point, so they just started copying and pasting stuff randomly, just kind of permuting the language, like the like Abulafia in Foucault's Pendulum. Sorry, gone too far. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this bit and then stop. How's that? Did I draw this sperm? I don't think I did. Where was I up to? Moreover, you observe, yes. Oh yeah, the hole in his head and the spout and so on. Hasn't got a nose. Yes. Chin, your under entirely were mouth own your though as. Indeed, way same that in much. Head, the under entirely is mouth that observe you. Jaw lower boom like the receives which socket long the for retreat of more furnished to as so backwards considerably slopes front that of part lower the that observe you water the to plane vertical wholly almost and presents head his front the whale sperm, there's another one, the of position swimming ordinary the in that observe you. So let's draw those two sperms. Oh, we've got 10 minutes left. I'll see how much longer there is in this chapter. Maybe we can finish it if it's... Like, I don't want to leave it if it's just on the next page, but if it's... if there's any effort involved, then I'm not doing that. Hey! There we go. Perfect. See? I'd have been a bit of a mug if I'd just left that with one paragraph left for the next episode. So yeah, let's get this done. History recorded, all in found beta anywhere perhaps. Events true, less than not but. Appalling, it really is. Appalling most the of one to as infidel, and remain ever for awe. Yourself with matter this settle satisfactorily, either must you for. Point vital at is here. There lodged be may power battering ram whatever. Of estimate intelligent, unexaggerated, sum yourself to forming of view soul, the with now it investigates you have would I. Collectedness compacted, its all in, aspect front its remark particularly. Simply, physiologist sensible as you have would I, head whale sperm, the nonce therefore quitting air. Battering ram the 76th chapter, and I'm going to give Herman the benefit of the doubt that nonce meant something different in the mid-18th century. Although, well, no guarantees the way he's used certain other questionable language through the course of this book. And that was what the final sperm on the board. Excellent. Chapter 76 done. And I will leave it there for next time. Perfect. Yeah, I haven't really got a lot else to say, really. Not this week. As I say, I missed the thing on Tuesday. I couldn't be bothered doing it on Tuesday. I mean, when I say I couldn't be bothered, I mean I had strong political reasons for not doing it on Tuesday. But also I couldn't be bothered. That's nice. What am I drinking, you say? I'm drinking Edel Spezialbier, which is German. It's been German, site 1308. Because I haven't done words, I haven't done the numbers yet. I've only done words in German. There you go. That's what it is. It's nice. I'll hold it a bit further away so you can actually see what it is. 700 years brewing tradition. Bavarian. It says ABK. Edel Spezialbier. I've also got 2 litres of stout in the fridge. Because I'm having a bit of a Zoom call social with some friends tomorrow night, so I thought I'd buy myself some 2 litres of stout. Because, Christ, that's going to give me a bit of a mess on Sunday morning. But yeah, I'll be fine. Be good. What else have I been doing? Oh, I did a bit of maths. Couple of bits of maths, actually. The first one was the ESA NEO survey, whatever you want to call it. Do you know what I'm talking about with that? No. It's the European Space Agency Near Earth Object Survey. It's the thing that discovers asteroids that are going to hit us, although they very rarely do. I think they found 4 that have actually hit us, and none of them were very big. But then, people go, oh no, it's going to hit us, oh, we're all going to die. Get Bruce Willis on the case if it's going to go anywhere near us. So, they have to keep going. They have to keep doing it. But they've released a puzzle, and I can't solve it yet. I'm sure I'll get it. But it's what is the largest aphelion that an asteroid can have if it spends half of its time inside the radius of 1.3 astronomical units from the sun, and half of its time outside the radius of 1.3 astronomical units from the sun. Difficult bit of maths. I'm convinced there's a physicsy way of doing it that means the maths isn't anything like as hard as I'm making it. But if you actually try and just work out like the shape of the elliptical orbit, and then the orbit, Kepler's laws say the orbit sweeps out equal angles in equal time, which is why it gets faster as it gets closer to the sun. The sun is at one focus of an ellipse, and the asteroid goes faster when it's nearer the sun, and when it's far from the sun, it goes slower. But it sweeps out an equal angle of the arc around that ellipse from the focus in equal times. So anyway, I drew these ellipses and found out where a circle and an ellipse intersect, and then started trying to integrate to work out the areas of the two, and quickly got into a bit of a mess. The integration's horrible. So I'm convinced there's a smart way of doing it, but I haven't cracked it yet. It's been a long time since I did physics at university, and I thought to myself, well, I'll leave it for now. I'm not Wesley Crusher. I'm not Data. So from Star Trek. But then I started doing some maths about Star Trek instead, which is a lot easier. There was an episode I watched called Data's Day, I think it was called, or Data Day. Oh, it's just a pun, isn't it? I've just got it. Day to Day, as in the Day to Day, the satirical news program. But the episode is about Data and his day, right? It's like the day of Data. And towards the start of the episode, the whole thing has voiceover by Data, by what is he? Lieutenant Commander Data, is he? He's like the second officer on the ship. If you don't watch Star Trek, I don't expect you to watch Star Trek on my behalf. I've never really watched it before. I'm currently watching through the Next Generation. Having skipped the original series, gave up on that. I couldn't watch it, but quite enjoying Next Generation. Anyway, in this day-to-day episode, Data towards the start of the episode states all the activities that are going on the ship and the things that he's going to be involved in, and he mentions, of course, of that various things like there's a wedding at whatever time, this is happening, that's happening, and there are 4 promotions. A typical day. That's how he says it, right? A typical day. Now, it doesn't take much working out and much research to find out that this cannot be a typical day. If there are 4 promotions on a typical day, now I looked this up, there are 1,012 people aboard the Enterprise in Next Generation, give or take. I mean, some of them will die or swap out and stuff, but it has a crew complement of 1,012 people. I looked this up. I also looked up what the ranks are from, assuming that the Captain Picard, is the highest ranking officer on the ship, as he is likely, unless they have visiting dignitaries and things. But he's the highest ranking. He runs the ship. Beneath him, you have Commander Riker. Then there are, I assume, several lieutenant commanders. Then you get lieutenants. Then you get lieutenants, junior officers or something, junior lieutenants, whatever, like beginners lieutenants. Then, am I right in saying it's ensign and then petty officer? Is that right? Yeah, I haven't missed any out. I haven't missed any out. No, that's right. So there are 7 ranks. That's 5. I know. I'm going to have to get some more fingers in. 7 ranks for 1,012 people. However, the 1,012 people include scientists and the partners of people who aren't involved, and their children even, right? So the 1,012 people aren't all enlisted officers. Let's say a quarter of them, roughly. Shall we say that? No, let's say 350 are enlisted officers. They're the actual crew that run the place. I was going to say a quarter, but then it's probably more than that, because it's all engineering facilities people. They're all enlisted, right? It's not like the engineering is done by the scientists. It's done by enlisted officers. So probably 350, say, people on board. Now, if you've got 350 people on board, and the vast majority of them are petty officer class, let's say that there are very few already promoted officers on there. You would know them if they were there, right? It's all the people you see walking about, in tight trousers and short skirts, just looking entertaining as the main cast walk around looking for the right Jeffries tube. They're all petty officers, let's say. However, if you promote 4 of them every day, as is a typical day according to data, they will all be captain within 18 months. Now, I'm not convinced. I mean, it's great for their careers, but I'm not convinced that's the best way to run a starship. I think that's overly generous. I mean, that's a faster rate of promotion than on Darth Vader's flagship, where he just kills people off and people rise through the ranks that way. But I mean, he only kills 3 or 4 of them off or something in a whole film that goes on for probably weeks. Whereas promoting 4 a day, it's ridiculous. And it makes you start questioning, like, is Captain Picard, does he know what he's doing? Or has he actually been promoted from ensign to captain on 5 consecutive days? And actually he's clueless. He's no smarter than Wesley Crusher. I think they need to look at their HR procedures. I think there's work to be done. They should get a consultant in. Get an ombudsman. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I think we're done. I'm 3 minutes over time. It's your fault. So I'm going to stop. I don't really see any reason to drag this out much longer. Give to the wherever that is. Give to the NVM or any other charities, particularly ones supporting Black creators at this time. That would be great. Thank you. In the meantime, I'll be back next Tuesday for episode 24, whereupon I will have spent, by my reckoning, an entire day of my life doing this. Which is great. I won't waste any more of my time or yours right now. See you next time.